Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, I still can't believe that, at least here in the States, that Thanksgiving is next week. My kids only go to school 4 days this week, and I just found that out yesterday when their teacher let me know that they didn't have school on Friday. Okay, so I'm just saying it's going to be one of those weeks for me, you guys. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy Russell, and Dina is joining us today, and our lovely author guest, Kristine Jensen. So you guys, let's talk about the weekend. Russell's dying to get me to talk about my weekend. So I'm going
Show
to,
the
and I'm going to
picture
show
first.
photos. I will have a plethora of photos. I have a lot of photos. So come on over to our YouTube channel or watch the recording. But this
Yes, you'll want
weekend,
to today because this is horrible.
it's fantastic. So my husband, you guys all know, Josh likes to go backpacking. He's a wilderness man. He likes to be out in the woods. I don't know. It refreshes him for whatever reason. So he took his sister, who is now up here in College Station, going to the awful A&M University. He took her on Wednesday. They went camp. They did all their backpacking on Thursday. They texted me for an extraction. I was coming up on Friday because we were going camping this weekend. And anyone who knows me, I've done my time of camping with Josh, and it was miserable. And now that I've had kids, I'm into glamping. But I was going to do it because the girls have a lot of fun doing it. So leading up to this, you guys, I had purchased, you guys know my house is already decorated, all the stuff.
It's
I
terrible.
purchased the Grinch sweats, the green ones that are at Target for myself. Okay. Because damn it, I'm in a Christmas mood. Okay. So I purchased the matching set bottoms and sweater for myself. I wore them to take the kids to school, la, la, la. And so then I told Josh and I was like, hey, I kind of want to do Christmas photos. Would you wear this sweat outfit? Now, I think in his mind, because I was sacrificing going camping in a freaking tent, he said yes. You know, I didn't hesitate. I ran to Target and bought the girls and him matching sweat sets to mine. We were all in the green
This is
Grinch
so
set.
terrible.
Okay. So let me show them because when we went up to Ratcliffe this weekend, we took family photos. Now I have a ton of them on my Facebook page. You can go and find them. I'm going to show the ones that didn't make it, but are just classic in and of itself of all of the mishaps in our photo sessions with our dogs, all in matching Grinch outfits.
That
Okay.
is so
So
terrible.
our dogs
I'm
are there. It's fantastic. Sky thoroughly loved it. There were people there as we were taking photos as it's
laughing
82
their
degrees.
heads off.
As it's 82
Oh.
degrees outside, we're all sweaty, but hey, we made it
First,
in
you
our
sewed his
photos.
motorcycle, then you put him in the
Not. Now, anyways,
pajamas.
I'm
It's
going to show
awful.
a photo, and you guys, no one is allowed to comment. I don't have makeup on in this photo. I just woke up in this photo, but my dog was living his life sitting next to me because my dog, this brown pit bull right here that you're going to see, does not like the grass, the leaves falling on him, or bugs. He's very much an RV dog, is what I have
Okay,
figured
that's
out.
so funny. That's a
Okay.
great
And
picture, Amy.
so, anyways, I have discovered this about my dog. Now, in that photo that I just showed of me zoomed in on my dog, Josh has found a new hobby, Russell, and I'm going to support it because I am the supportive, right? But he has discovered motorboats, like the little toy ones in the water. So he brought one on this camping trip, which is what Bruno is the name of that dog, was watching, wanting to jump in the water and just completely annihilate this speedboat that Josh had. And now he's come up with, he's going to upgrade the motor and the battery life and all this crap. So now all this money is going into this stupid boat that he has bought that he just thoroughly loved. But that was the whole premise behind it. But yes, you guys, I went camping with my family and I made them take friggin' Christmas photos in matching Grinch sweats. And I'm here for it. And I even made my dogs pose, and they did not have dog sweaters in the Grinch, or I would have bought them. So I'm just saying that was my weekend in a nutshell. Dina, I was putting up a tent when you text me because we had to bring the 12-person tent because, like I said, Josh's sister came with us. But you guys, this is what I've learned in camping. I brought a friggin' airbed and blew it up with my car and put it in my tent. And whoever did not want to sleep on the floor could sleep in the airbed. Oh, I'm telling you, that was a game changer, except
It
I
is a
still don't
game
sleep.
changer, isn't it? It's a total game changer.
It is. I don't sleep when I'm camping because there are just noises and I watch too many true crime documentaries to be able to sleep because I'm afraid it's so easy to just unzip my tent. So, yeah, so it's a whole thing. I don't sleep at all. But, my kids thoroughly loved it. They had so much fun and so it was worth it. And I got my Christmas photos. So, needless to say,
Awful.
I am a happy camper.
Perfect.
Yes, exactly. I love
Yes.
it.
I thought you were joking. I thought you were putting up a tent in your backyard.
I was serious. I was legit serious. I did not lie. But what all did you guys do this weekend? Russell, I have photos for you. So let's dive into yours first. And then we'll get everybody else talking.
I had a peaceful weekend because my 3 granddaughters and my daughter and her husband went to Disney Hell, or called Disney World, and they sent this picture Saturday afternoon
I love
that
it.
my twin granddaughters had passed out.
I love it.
And it's such a great picture.
It's wonderful. They had so much fun, and you can tell with the little Elsa Honor dolls. I'm here for it.
And meanwhile, I still live in multiple apartments because the money pit is not ready. But my wife did get a two trees for our apartment
I love
since
it.
we're homeless. And if you look really close on both trees, she actually got lights and decorations.
I do see
This is
that.
where our life has come to now.
I love
Kristine,
it.
I live in I own a money pit that I don't get to live in. I just pay money for other people to work on it.
He's remodeling a house. He just moved back to Houston and he's remodeling a house. It's not a money pit. It's just a remodel that he's classifying as a money pit because I get to make fun of him because he gave me a ton of crap when I was building my house. So that's why.
And I miss Georgia right now, where it's cold and it's cool and it's dry. Because I live now back in Houston, where it's the equator. And
It's
so
hot.
this may be November, but when I stepped out at 75 degrees at 6 o'clock this morning and like 95% humidity, it did not feel like November.
Now, you used to love that, though, Mr. Russell.
I know, but
I know. Now you've had the taste of coolerness, and it's not as nice in the humid weather.
You're so contrary.
I know. I'm a contrarian.
He is.
I'm an economic contrarian.
True. True statement. But Kristine, Dina, what did you guys do this weekend?
Well, speaking of extremes of climate, I had spent a few days in Sedona, Arizona. I took a little trip there with a friend of mine. It's so beautiful. Really loved it. But then I flew back to Eugene, Oregon. So I went from the desert, warm and dry, to Eugene, Oregon, wet, gray, slimy, and immediately got a cold. So I spent yesterday in bed, but it was a great excuse to read a book and do nothing and just read all day long. So that's what I did. I'd never been to Sedona before, and it's amazing. It's just so beautiful.
It sounds I've never been. Russell's been, though, right, Russell?
I actually have. When you went to Sedona, did you by any chance do the dirt bicycle ride up those beautiful plateaus?
We did not do a bicycle ride, but we hired a guy to take us on a private Jeep tour. And we went, like, I don't know what they'd call it, outbagging or something. The guy is driving us over boulders, down ravines. I'm hanging on for dear life, wondering, oh my God, what the hell have we done?
It's so fun. It's so beautiful in the desert, isn't it, Kristine?
It's so beautiful. And he took us to this like 7 sacred pools with all this, beautiful water. It was amazing. I've never really
So did you go, Bob? Did you go down to the restaurants underneath the canopy next to the river and have a beautiful glass of wine?
I don't know that we did that, but we went to some restaurants where the views, I mean, the views from every direction are just astounding.
Yeah.
And
Sedona is
yeah,
just
we
a
had the
wonderful
wine.
place.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, it was amazing.
I love
Dana,
I worked on Amy's accounting. And my
Did.
I bet that was complicated. Amy goes camping in her green pajamas. Oh, Dana tries to get Amy's accounting straightened up.
Okay.
I set up Amy's royalty accounting.
Yeah, for my publishing company. It wasn't like for all my entrepreneurial things. It was for my publishing county, and
It was
because
one specific thing that I had to set up.
yeah, because I don't know anything about that. Yeah.
And I thought, I'll go ahead and I'll send her this spreadsheet and she can take care of it herself. And I thought, no, this is Amy. Amy likes spreadsheets. So I wanted to get it all out of the way so then, I could just go in, plug and play next time.
Okay, so Kristine, I feel like it's fair to tell you, I don't like spreadsheets. They overwhelm me and I don't know how to work them. And Dina has it like where it flashes at her and like one stays and you can scroll and then it talks. So hers are very overwhelming. And so for her to think first off that I could just do it is a compliment because I wouldn't. And then she backpedaled and just did it because she knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. So it's a nice thing. But you also worked on your website. It wasn't just the Amy show.
I did the miniseries on one of the miniseries on my website. And just so you know, Russell, one of my spreadsheets, when I click a box, it says, "You go, girl."
I love it.
It says, "You're slaying it." I have it say all
does.
kinds of stuff. It talks to me. It's great. I love it.
I'm having Chat GPT talk to me in a good way too.
Oh, I don't have that.
But see, I don't have Chat GPT talk to me. I do have
You need to pick
conversations
it up.
with my Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I do have conversations.
She does. She does.
We need to thank people that are listening to us. We're top 10% on some what was I going to say? Chat GPT channels,
Podcasting channels.
Podcast channels. We're top 1% on one channel on independent book podcast interviews, and we want to thank those that listen to us. Amy, where do people find us?
You guys, literally anywhere that you can find us. On my go-to is Spotify and Good Pods, Google Play if you're an Android user, iTunes if you're an Apple user. If you want to watch us and come check out these fantastic Grinch sweat pictures that Russell's making fun of, but they are fantastic, you can go to any one of our social media channels. Mine is public, Russell's, Dina's, all of ours are public. You can go and look and see these wonderful photos, but you can also go over to our YouTube channel or our Facebook group. You can watch us live and engage with us. I'm generally pretty animated with my hands, and I control sometimes my facial expressions, but they generally give me away. Russell likes to point that out. Valerie is the same way. Dina is a straight shooter. So if you want to come in and
Dina
engage,
just growls at you.
it's a lot of fun, you guys. We have a eclectic group, but if you want to come on over and check us out, engage with us live, you can go to any one of those groups. But without further ado, Russell, Dina, let's get Kristine talking about her book, Wednesday Club, because I am dying to know. I love the title of it. I'm dying to learn more about it. I know our listeners are. So let's get Kristine talking about her book. So take it away, you guys.
Dina, go ahead.
Oh, I thought she was going to tell us about her book.
That's you.
Kristine, tell us then.
I'd love to tell you about my book. So maybe I'll back up a little bit and tell you what inspired the book, because it's really kind of a fun story. So when my grandmother died in 1995, we were going through some of her things, and I found a box of all these notebooks, I guess you would call them. Here's some funky examples. And we thought about throwing them out, but then I looked a little closer and realized that they were minutes from this women's club, Rural Farm Women in South Dakota, a club that had existed for almost 65 years. So for instance, this book right here, you can't see it. I guess the pencil is too light, but they were minutes from the club meetings. The club met with strict parliamentary procedure. They had officers, they had programs, they did these philanthropic things, and it was fascinating. So I gathered these up. I took them back with me to California thinking, oh, I should publish these minutes because it's a really interesting history of these women. What were they talking about at this time? What were the cultural events that were happening? So, like a lot of people, I think with a good idea, it's like, yeah, I'll get to that some way. So I hauled the box around with me to various places that I lived in California, hauled it back to me in Oregon. And finally, I pulled them out and I thought, okay, now's the time. I'm going to publish this set of minutes because it's going to be fascinating. But what I discovered was that the minutes were really pretty dry. There were a bunch of years missing. And it was not going to be this sort of historical look at the club that I thought. But what it did do for me was to inspire the idea of a novel. And so that's what was the basis for the novel. I used the idea of this Wednesday club that met once a month and sort of took it from there. What's really different in my book is that obviously I couldn't have 25 Wednesday Club members. So I narrowed it down to 5 and needed to come up with like a central conflict. What was going to happen in this story to make this kind of boring, dry women's group come to life? And I came up with the idea of what would happen if a city girl, a more sophisticated city girl, was dumped on her grandparents' farm in rural South Dakota, a place she really did not want to be, hated every minute of it, and couldn't wait to get out. And so that's how the novel begins.
And how young is the
Ivy, the protagonist? She's 16 and turns 17. The other thing is that the novel is set in a 13-month period, 1963 and 1964, where there were some really interesting things happening in the country. We had the death of Kennedy. The women's movement was really just starting to come into play. And so it gave me an opportunity to envision what were these rural women thinking about what was happening during this time. How were they processing the events around them?
Yeah, that sounds interesting because I like to see the historical perspective on stuff. That's great. And so you say that it's like a multi-generational. Do you find that multi-generational friendships and groups are more prevalent than you thought, or did you think that this was groundbreaking?
I know that they do exist, and I love that idea. I don't know how prevalent they are. In Wednesday Club, I have characters from 16 to into their 50s. There's a woman in each decade. And what I love about that is that not only could Ivy learn something from the older women, but they could also learn something from her. I don't know how prevalent intergenerational friendships are. I think a lot of times we tend to stick with people our own age. But the older I get, the more I'm realizing the benefits of these intergenerational friendships.
Absolutely.
What do you think? I mean, do you think there are
Yes.
many of them out there?
Well, Amy and I are multi-generational. She's young enough to be my daughter.
Well, but yeah, and I also
Amy's
I'm
like
with
12
Russell.
years old, Kristine.
That is, oh my God, you guys! The fact that you think I look 12, I'm going to take as a compliment.
You should.
I'm 33, but so most of my relationships, Kristine. Now I may be I mean, I am abnormal.
You're totally
I know I
abnormal.
am unique. In that,
You're walking around in
I'm
those
unique.
green
I'm unique
costumes
in
when
this.
got Josh to wear them.
Oh, anyways, so I am unique in this though. A lot of my friends and like friend circles and call like people that I work with that are clients that become friends are actually, and I mean this in a positive way, significantly older than I am. So
How is that positive?
kind of because you are more wiser. They're more wiser than I am.
Stop calling them geriatric.
That's what she was saying.
No, but
so
so I think for me, but I've kind of always been that way. That's why I say I think I'm more like unique in that, because I do also have friendships with people that are much younger than me. Like my sister-in-law is 18, right? And we're actually really good friends. And my nieces and stuff, I'm good friends with them, and they're going into college. So I don't have friends. Oh my gosh. Now that I think about it, you guys, this is terrible. I don't have friends that are my own age. Oh my gosh. I think that there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with me.
There is. There's something wrong with you.
But I don't. So I know. But for your argument, I don't know how normal that is. Like my husband has friends that are his age or like a little bit older, a little bit younger, not necessarily to the extremes
He won't
in which
after
I
they
have.
see that picture.
Not necessarily to the extremes that I have. So I don't know how normal it is, but I can tell you as someone who does have those that and for me personally is fantastic, because I can go to them for advice. I can just talk to them. We generally like the same music, which is really nice. Which is really nice, but they're like very helpful. And I think it's more just my kind of speed. So from a positive outlook on that, from someone who has a lot of those, but I don't know how common it is, to be completely honest. But
well, I don't know how common it is either, but I mean, up until probably the invention of the internet, right? When the internet became so prevalent, I think most of my friendships were within my age group. I might have had like the oddball person who was significantly older or significantly younger, but now like my bestie is the same age as my son.
Wow.
And then like I have like someone who's older than my mother. I call her my grand Sandy, right? And she's like my workout partner. We go swimming together, and she's like working with me on a couple of different projects. So yeah, it's very helpful. But I'm bossy with all of them, even the elder statesman of the group. I'm bossy. So.
You probably come by it naturally.
Absolutely true. So, what was your experience on writing about small town life? Like, what were some of the things you thought that Ivy, was her name Ivy? Ivy would have
yeah, the protagonist is Ivy. So I actually grew up in that small town in South Dakota. And so I grew up on a farm. I really knew what that experience was. What I wanted to do was to convey how unusual it was for a city girl to try to come into this small town culture. And what would that mean for her? And though I didn't have that experience, I actually had the opposite experience where I moved from South Dakota to San Francisco. And so I think whenever you've moved to a different place, you're in a place where you don't know how to fit in, you don't know if you really belong there, you can always relate to that. I don't know if I can fit in here. I think the thing about the small town aspect of it for Ivy was that she was coming into a place where she was in high school. These kids had grown up with each other, from elementary school on. And I think one of the things that you will find in small towns is that they can be kind of closed to outsiders. It can be hard to find a way to fit in, to find your place. And so she was really ostracized. She also very much had an attitude as a city girl that she was so much better than these stupid hicks, these farm kids. She hated riding a school bus. She couldn't believe that the fashions that they were wearing seemed so outdated, and that there wasn't anything to do there, right? She was so incredibly bored. And she kept hoping every day that her mother was going to come back and get her. Of course, her mother, who had gone off to Hollywood because she won a beauty contest and was trying to become a star, her mother really didn't have much intention of coming back to get her. She was an absentee mother all of her life before that and would continue to be. So the story really revolves around how does Ivy find her place in this world, and how does her grandmother's Wednesday Club help her with that? You might be wondering, how does she get involved in this Wednesday Club? Well, she kind of gets sucked into it when her grandmother asks if she will fill in just once or twice as a secretary to the Wednesday Club, making notes on their meetings. And Ivy kind of reluctantly agrees, but believes that it will just be a short-term thing and she can really get out of there. And then the longer she's there, of course, and becomes a part of this Wednesday Club, the more she realizes that, oh, wow, they're really there for her in a way that her mother never was. The other thing about my book is that it is told through multiple points of view. So it's not just Ivy's story, it's also the story of the character arc of these different characters and what happens to them during the course of a year. And there's some quirky characters. There are characters who are hiding a troubled past. I mean, they're each kind of rich, full women who are going through their own trials and tribulations. So Ivy isn't the only one.
Yeah. So what is this your first book?
It is my first novel. I have written 3 screenplays in the past. I work as a marketing writer for a high-tech company, but this is my first novel. And it was amazing to work on. I wasn't sure if I could pull off a novel. It took me a long time. It took me about 4 years. I worked with a developmental editor at about draft 5. Ended up self-publishing at draft 12 when I felt that this is as good as I can make this story. So it was a really great experience. I've learned a lot. I've had a really great reception to the book, which has been very gratifying.
So what was your process when it came to publishing? Because I know, I mean, we've all been in this industry a really long time. To go from screenwriting to publishing your own book is a venture in and of itself. So what was your process like in doing that, and your writing style? Are you more like a huge outliner and you have to stick to it? Or are you more just kind of go by the seat of your pants? Because everyone has that. And I can just kind of picture being screenwriter, screenplay writer, that's very outline kind of structured. And so how did that transition over into actually publishing and writing your book?
I am definitely a planner. And when you have a story that's complicated with multiple characters and points of view, and characters who have to go through their own arc. The only way I could figure out how to do this was a very complicated spreadsheet. You like that, Dina? So I actually used Excel spreadsheet to plot out what was happening to the different characters at that point in time, from August 1963 to August 1964. So I very much knew what was going to be happening to these characters. I mean, you know, with any plotter, though, I think that new things come in that you want to be open to. A whole character popped up and demanded to be a part of the story that I wasn't expecting. I think the thing about the process of writing for me, so I worked as a video writer producer for a lot of years in my career. And I wrote documentary scripts and video scripts, and the screenplays were a way to express myself in something that wasn't for a client. But through all of that, I learned to be a very visual writer. And so I think that this book really is written in a very visual style with really short chapters. They're very much like scenes in a movie because that's how I write. And when I start a chapter, I put myself in that place. What does it look like? What does it sound like? How am I going to introduce the reader to this chapter and make them feel that they're really a part of it? And so, yeah, I think that's how I write. When I had finished the 12th draft, I think maybe even earlier than that, spent a lot of time querying. And I got really close a few times with getting an agent, but then that's almost worse, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, so close. And after a while, I think I got about 86 rejections. About 5 of those came really close. But then I was like, you know what? I want to wrap up this story. I want to get this book out there. It was important to me that I published the book while my mom was still alive. And so then I just immersed myself in learning what it takes to self-publish. How do you hire, I hired a designer for the cover, everything you guys probably already know about self-publishing, but it was a really great experience. I loved it. In the end, I think that I don't regret working even harder to try to get an agent. I'm really happy with how things have gone with self-publishing.
Oh, see, I love to hear that. So Russell went that route with his first book, and then I came and helped him with his other books. Dina's in the process of eventually she's going to publish her books that I've read, and I've given her a lot of crap about that just because it's so good. She won't publish it. But I like everyone's self-publishing journey is so different. So I love to hear it. And I encounter Russell. I know you've encountered, we've had several people on the show who have queried for so long to get an agent. They never did, they waste all these years and time when they could have self-published and they, do more about it. But I love that you did your research and you've kind of taken it like, I know that I'm taking on this ball and I need to run with it. And what all do I need to equip myself to run with it? And you wanted to get it out before, so your mom passed, so that way she could see it. And so I just love to hear that. And I figured you being a screenplay writer or that you were going to be super thought out and everything. I did not expect this spreadsheet. So I'm glad you and Dina are by each other because you guys can love your spreadsheets that stress me out 100%. But Russell, you look like you're chomping at the bit to ask a question.
Yeah, I do. And it's weird. So you wrote about a small town. You wrote about your small town. Did you name the small town? And how did you approach writing about it? Did you just write what you wanted to write? did you feel any need to filter to not hurt the feelings of the people in the small town you're writing about? How did you deal with that?
I did not. I definitely came up with a fictional name. And I created a town that was smaller than the town that I grew up in. I grew up in a college town. It's small, but it's like, I don't know, 20,000 people.
What, Sioux City?
Excuse me?
Was it Sioux City?
It was Brookings,
Okay.
South Dakota. So it's a college town. Prairie View, South Dakota, which is the small town in my book, is very much smaller, which I think gives it, even more of a problem for a city girl to come to. The fact that it was set in 1963 and 64, I was just a little girl during that time. So I had to do a lot of research about what it was, what it was like then. I looked in old farm kitchen clatter magazines. I researched what fashion was like from magazines. I mean, the research is a really fun part. And I wanted to make sure that the characters that I was writing in the book were really fictional characters. It really helped that, I don't really know what these women were like in 63 and 64. So I had the liberty to make them whoever I wanted. It has been kind of interesting for people who live in that town, who read the book, who are looking for to see if they can recognize any people. I think they can recognize the place in general overview terms, like a farm surrounded by cornfields, surrounded by, blacktop highway, with a few rivers and trees. Like, that's, everybody can recognize that in that part of the state. But I don't think anybody, I didn't really worry that I was going to hurt anybody's feelings, because I felt that I was creating a very fictional world.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now? I need to know. What book are you reading?
Yesterday, I finished a book that I have now read 3 times.
I understand that.
See, I'm not alone.
I know.
It's an older book. I don't know if you guys have even heard of it. It's called The Dive from Clawson's Pier. And it is written by Ann Packer. And it is one of the best examples of show not tell that I have ever read. It's a story of what happens when a teenager, I guess he might be 20, a woman is engaged to a man, and he takes a dive off a pier and becomes paralyzed. And it's the story of, will this woman stick with him? And how does this incident affect her? It's incredibly intense. It's beautiful, the way she can express emotions by how people are acting, and what they're doing physically. It's just incredible. She is just so great. And I saw that she has another book. She waited another 10 years and published a novel. I had to look it up yesterday. It's just out. But I'm really looking forward to reading that book as well. Do any of you know that book?
I
No,
don't.
but when you said that he got hurt diving, I immediately thought of Charles Krauthammer, who used to be a political commentator that I loved. So
it's an outstanding book. I mean, it's just really beautifully written.
I like books like that you can like reread. I have one that I reread. Russell, you know this. It's Roger Leslie's My First Last Year. I read it at the beginning of every year because it kind of like sets my mindset, I guess, for the year. And it's just like the experience of living a year as if it's your last. What all would you do? Having no regrets, fixing or mending relationships, but it's all just, the thought of doing that as like an exercise, I think for me is just what draws me to it. So I can relate. And Dina reads books multiple times. So you guys, this is why you guys were by each other. Russell, you were going to say something before I cut you off.
No, you did not cut me off.
Sorry.
I enjoyed listening to that. I'm glad that you used that philosophy. I've lived my life like that. So I believe in that too. I reread Brothers Karamazov every January and February. That's how I start my year.
Oh, I'll have to look into that one. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that
By
one, but I'll have to look
Dostoevsky.
into it.
Dina, do you have a favorite that you read and reread?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I reread the entire J.D. Robb series every time she has a new book come out.
In fact, they're reading it together.
No, I'm on my own. Dina's done.
Dina
I'm on my
left
own.
You, she abandoned you.
She abandoned me after like 1 week.
They were reading it together.
We were, because there's like, I don't know, there's like 76 books in that series. I mean, not really.
Books.
I'm sorry, there's 60. My bad. I was off. And so I've never read them. And I know JD Robb is like Nora Roberts, right? So I've never read them. Dina was like, oh, you have to read these. So I am a slow reader. I'm going to be honest. I am a slow reader. So I will listen to the audiobook as I read it because I challenge myself to become faster and I try to keep up with the audiobook and I put it at like 2 times because I'm weird like that. Anyways, I digress. So we were on the same one to like book 10, I think. And then Dina, I know, Dina's being nice. She abandoned me after like book 3, to be completely honest with you. She was on book 10. Yeah. I was on book 3. And then the next thing I know, she's like, well, I'm on, 22. And I'm like, well, what for the love of God? So I just have given up. I'm reading them on my own at my own pace. So that's kind of, I've given up. But Gina's also a speed reader and she's read them several times. So she would skip over stuff where I was reading it for the first time. So it wasn't
the sex scenes.
I have to change the subject for a second.
Go, Russell.
Okay. How many words is your book? And are you aware of the new fashion of smaller and smaller books? And did you deal with that?
My book is 404 pages. It's 95,000 words, which I know is a little bit, pushing the edge for what they like to see for first-time novels. I think my book is kind of a fast read because the chapters are short. Each month is divided into sections with, the minutes from that Wednesday club in between.
Ooh, I've heard that.
People say that, they read through it in 3 nights. I think that's fast, but
yeah, how do you feel about that? You work 4 years and they read it in 3 nights. How do you feel about that?
Well, I like it because they tell me that that's the one thing wrong with the book, that they get through it too quickly. And I think that it says that they're really enjoying it and don't want to put it down. So I'm really okay with that. I'm not aware of this trend towards, smaller and smaller. I think it can be hard for some of us writers when we feel like we have a lot to say, or maybe, we want to kind of
give the cliff notes
on things. Although I will say that my style is not, I feel like it's a style that mimics the way people from the Midwest are. They're not flowery. They stick to the point. They, all those years I think of writing video scripts and screenplays, it's like put out there, what's really important to get your point across, and don't continue to embellish it when you don't need to. So I think that if that means, writing less, then I like that. I like that style. I tend to like books like that.
I do too. I like books that I can read in not necessarily one sitting because I read at night with, my kids and all these things. I have little kids, but I like it where I'm not stressed because I can't finish the book and I really want to. It's kind of like I can enjoy it and it's at a size that is manageable for people with busy, chaotic, running around like a chicken with their head cut off kind of life, which is me most of the time. So there is a trend going more towards that, which is more of like you can read it in like a sitting or two. So I think it's a compliment that they can finish your book in 3 days because it means that they didn't want to put it down. They made time for it. And it wasn't like 1,200 pages and we're suffocating trying to finish it, because I've read those too. And it's very exhausting where I'm just like, I cannot finish it. And I'm trying to read like 4 books a month. It's very irritating. Yes. I understand and can relate to you. Let's do closing questions, comments, statements before we wrap up our time with Kristine. Who wants to go first? Russell, you lean forward, so I'm picking you.
Okay. Where can people find your books or find out more about you?
They can find my book and more about me, Wednesday-club.com. I've been writing monthly blogs for a couple of years. You can find those there. The book is also available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookshop.org. But if you want to know more about the Real Wednesday Club and about me and about some of the background for the book, then Wednesday-club.com is the place to go.
Wonderful. Dina, what about you?
I'm doing a educational series on my website. Actually, I'm doing 5 of them. So if anyone wants to learn more about the ins and outs of publishing and what you should know, especially new authors and aspiring authors, the website is ebookbuilderspro.com.
Nice. Well, Kristine, I want to thank you for taking time out of your morning to come and hang out with us. I know you're battling a head cold and you have been such a trooper hanging out and talking with us. So thank you so much for doing that. Everybody go and check out Wednesday-Club to check out Kristine's book and learn more about the Wednesday Club. But you guys, until next time, have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, bye for now, everybody.